Good evening, everyone. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our program started. You're going to have to just stand where you're at. All right. Good evening, folks. I want to welcome you all to the Bay County Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner and Awards Ceremony. My mic's louder than yours. Please, please sit. Well, since you're all standing, please stand for the prayer and remain standing for the presentation of colors by the Tyndall Air Force Base Honor Guard, invocation and pledge, and the singing of the national anthem. The colors are being presented by the Joint Forces Honor Guard. Parade the colors. Invocation is by Reverend Henry Hansard.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, it is indeed a privilege to live in Bay County. And we want to thank you for this opportunity we have to give honor to whom honor is due. We lift up into your hands, asking for your healing hand upon our good friend, Alan Benz. And now, Father, would you bless this food, bless this fellowship, and this time together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the national anthem sung by Mia Carroll. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the ragged regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great job. Post the colors. Please be seated. Had a slight proud papa moment there. That is my 15-year-old daughter singing, so. She goes from wearing soccer cleats last night, scoring goals, to up here on stage, so pretty remarkable. Thank goodness she takes after mama. All right, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for being here tonight. I know everyone has got busy lives and schedules, and to be here tonight to celebrate with Bay County, we appreciate you. So I want to thank our presenting sponsors tonight. We have GAC Contractors, Bill Cramer Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, GMC. There's probably 4 or 5 more there. We have Verizon Wireless here. We have our entertainment sponsor tonight, which is System Service and Engineering. Feel free to clap, guys. They write big checks. They need to be thanked. Platinum sponsor tonight is Edgewater Beach and Golf Resort. And our very own Gulf Coast State College. Proud to be an alumni. All right, our gold sponsors tonight are Community Bank, Century 21 Commander Realty, Early Education and Care, Han Arundel Harrison Sale. Let us know you're here. NAI Talcor. There we are. We got the Port of Panama City. We have Sweet Bay. Trustmark Bank. And our final gold sponsor, West Rock. All right, I also want to thank all of our silent auction donors. You still have time before the silent auction closes, so don't forget to check out the great items. We want to thank all of our silent auction donors. A portion of the proceeds goes towards Junior Leadership Bay. This year, bidding on auction items is easier than ever. All you have to do, and I think it's going to be on the screens, is text your items of choice code to 903-225-6495. I can't see. I think it's up there. So volunteers, they're available for assistance in the auction hall following our program tonight. So I know a bunch of you have seen it, so you want to have a chance to win. So you still have time by simply texting the number. At this time, I want to welcome all of our local elected officials. We have Mayor Mike Thomas and Panama City Beach Council members from Panama City Beach. I saw them. We have my wonderful friends from the Bay County Commission. Come on, let us know you're here. And we also have Mayor Greg Brudnicki and the Panama City Commission. So if you would all please stand and be recognized, and thank you for your dedication to our community. All right, at this time, I'd like to recognize our friends from the Beach Chamber of Commerce staff and the Board of Directors who've joined us this evening. We want to thank you all for attending. Thank you. I've got a dinner coming up next month. And of course, we saved the best for last. Would all active duty military and veterans please stand and be recognized? We thank you for your continued service and serving our country. And now, on with the show. Well, it gives me great pleasure to introduce your 2019 Chairman's, we've never done this before, best friend, Brian Taylor. So, Brian, we know that Will's chairmanship, it's taken the attention away from you, and he's been extremely busy this year. We thank you for sharing him with this wonderful community in our chamber. So, Brian?
Are you ready to chamber? the 2019 annual dinner of Bay County Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Champions. And now, please help me welcome our main attraction, a man of many monikers, the Panama City Pummeler, the Bay County Brawler, the North Florida Knockout, the Grizzly Bear of Chamber Chairs, and 2019 Chamber Champ, Cramer!
Now there was a time when you loved me so. I couldn't run. Now you need to know. See, I've been a bad, 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 bad man, and I'm in deep. Yeah, I found a brand new love for this man, and can't wait till you see. I can't wait. So how you like me now? 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 Remember the time when I eat you up? Yeah, I was alive that you can't give up. If I was to cheat, oh, now would you see right through me? If I sing a sad, 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 sad song, would you give it to me? Would you? So how you like me now? 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 How you like me now?
Well, I don't know who to thank because I'll be fired after this one for even letting this happen. So, Carol, I apologize. All right, thank you, Brian. This year, maybe more than any other, has shown how far we can come when we act as a community together. And while we're building Bay County as a team sport, tonight we're here to celebrate a few individuals whose effort serve as wonderful examples for all of us as we build a better Bay. So now it's time to start wrecking some of our folks. So, Doug, if you'll join me on stage, please.
Those are my lines. I'm done. Yeah, that says Cramer. That's fine. That's cool. You did better than I did. Before we recognize Doug, we do want to say happy birthday to Tammy Moore. Where's Tammy? You want to sing? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tammy. Happy birthday to you. She's getting mine. So last week, it was my honor to receive the gavel from your 2019 Military Affairs Chairman, Doug Moore. Doug's chairmanship has been something of a roller coaster, beginning the year with a shell of an Air Force base and a heavily damaged Navy base, and ending the year with over $4.3 billion in approved funding to rebuild those bases. At least 2 new missions, a Great American Defense Community Award, and over 300 Military Affairs Committee members. And if you didn't know that Doug got to ride in a T-38, just give him 5 minutes. He'll tell you. Which I just say because I'm jealous. You're right. So please, Doug, thank you for your leadership this year. Thank you for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 MAC Chairman, Doug Moore.
Thank you, Will. Make sure I get this to the right level. You know, while it was an honor to serve as chair, I have to say that those numbers you heard had very little to do with me and a lot to do with a lot of others in this room and a lot of people working up in D.C. on the behalf of our community. And while I appreciate the applause, I think the ones that really deserve the applause are those that are sitting at the MAC table right now, our leaders for the bases. If you would, please stand up. Everybody join me in a round of applause for them, please. General, that includes you. You know, this past year was humbling and inspiring. It was amazing to be able to go and to do what Will actually stole my thunder and talked about everything I was going to talk about. So, but from being able to represent our community up in D.C. for the beta, for basically for us being a defense community, one of 5 chosen throughout the country, and being able to meet with the Second Lady Karen Pence and being able to actually swap a MAC coin with her for a Second Lady's coin. For those of y'all who know anything about challenge coins, that was a pretty humbling experience, being able to do that and to represent our community in D.C. in front of all these other bases and communities, and them seeing the support that our community gives to both Tyndall and NSAPC. So it was something that was just absolutely amazing to be a part of. And then after that, getting the opportunity to tour NSAPC, and I have to give Captain Peters props because he corrected me last week. We have 75 PhDs behind that fence, and the mission that they take on and what they do to support both the Navy's mission and the service of our country is absolutely astounding. And then finally, Will, being the smart aleck, knowing what I was going to say, had to throw this in. Yes, I got to fly with the Beagles in a T-38, and I learned one thing: I am woefully out of shape. What these people, these service members do, men and women, are absolutely amazing. I began this tour 5 years ago, looking forward to this year and being able to serve. But the one thing that I've learned throughout the years is something that I really believe that our community and our country should take a lesson from. As I watched these leaders, not just the commissioned officers, but the non-commissioned and everybody that was in the military, both Navy and Air Force, their motto is about service. They train and they serve. The leaders serve to make sure that their people under them are understanding and knowing and are confident in the mission of what they do. And they're constantly encouraging and pushing. And I really do believe that the positivity that they put forward is something that our community and our country should learn from. And to y'all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your service. And thank you for making this one heck of a year.
Now I would like to introduce our most prestigious award, the Lauren Merriam Award. Here tonight to present it is our 2015 recipient, Leon Walters.
Good evening. Each year, the Bay County Chamber of Commerce recognizes one individual that demonstrates the personal characteristics of Mr. Lauren Merriam. These characteristics include commitment to the community's well-being, as demonstrated by involvement in civic, charitable, and our endeavors contributing to the betterment of Bay County and the benefit of its citizens, and the ability not to take oneself or one's peers too seriously. Mr. Merriam did a lot for our community and enjoyed doing it. I am honored to get to present this year's recipient, whose contributions I have personally witnessed and admired. So let's talk a little about this outstanding person. You're not going to believe the community activities this person has been or is involved with. I don't know how the person finds the time to do all of this. As I mentioned, a few community activities, many of you, and maybe the recipient, will recognize who I'm talking about. If you have served on any volunteer boards in Bay County, you most likely will have come across this year's recipient. Although a Bay County resident for only 15 years, the recipient has been extremely involved with boards, activities that deal with our young people and improvement of our community. Some of these boards include the Bay Education Foundation, Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida, Anchorage Children Home, Goodwill Industries, FSU PC and Gulf Coast Foundations, the LEAD Coalition, Red Cross, Economic Development Alliance, to name just a few. Participation all includes state and national boards dealing with human relations and continuing education and training, and is currently chairman of a board of trustees of a local hospital. All of this 15 years resident. Additional activities include being a mentor and guardian of 2 at-risk children with the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, and is also a church trustee. This year's recipient has received recognition of his community activities, including Junior Achievement Business Hall of Fame laureate, a Paul Harris Fellow, Rotary Community Service Award, and American Red Cross. I might add this person is one of only 2 or 3 people that has ever chaired both chambers, the Beach Chamber and the Bay County Chamber of Commerce. As one of the Lauren characteristics of not taking oneself and peers too seriously, I must point out that this year's recipient, in a moment of confusion or wine or whatever, once, as MAC chair, introduced the command of the Naval Surface Warfare Center as the command of the Naval Surface Welfare Center. So be it. That's the way it goes. So we shouldn't, we should remember that we are people. Likewise, this person's golf game is so bad that unlike his spouse, is routinely requested to drive the beverage cart. I might add that this year's recipient has also been known to call me Dad. So without further intrigue, this year's Lauren Merriam Awardee is the Dean of Gulf Coast State College Workforce Development and Director of the Gulf Franklin County Campus, Mr. Al McCamry. This is Al's son that managed to make the meeting tonight.
Well, damn. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not usually lost for words, but
You got it.
first of all, when I looked at all the recipients in the past for this award, it makes it all the more humbling and all the more, I can't even come up with words to describe how I feel. And my wife, who never wants to be on time for anything, kept rushing me out of the house today to get here on time. And then we locked ourselves out of the condo that we're renting on the beach. So I'll be looking for a locksmith later on tonight, but that's okay. And then I see my son here. That's a surprise. He lives in Kansas City in Overland Park. You know, I've been really blessed with my kids. I've got 2 electrical engineers and an actuarial accountant. And then, you know, God has a sense of humor because there's another young man in my life who is spending time as the ward of the state that I've been trying to mentor. So, but my kids mean the world to me. And I can tell you all of those activities that I've been able to participate in, I would not have been able to participate in if it wasn't for my wife, Debbie. She and I have been married for 34 years. She has allowed me to share with you the things that we hold true. You know, there's a company, old cable company called Knology that brought me here. But there is a company that, an educational institution that allowed me to stay here, and that's called Gulf Coast State College. And what's interesting, after the storm, it reinforced to me why staying in Bay County was so important. As we look at everything that we've been through, I get so tired of talking about surviving the storm. But one of the things that means a lot to me is how the county came together related to overcoming the storm. And the fact that my Gulf Coast State College family continued to embrace all of its employees, and from the Board of Trustees to the foundation, from every faculty and staff member, it made me realize what the college can do for the benefit of the community and what the community can do if we continue to work together. You know what's weird is I saw, and you guys bear with me, I saw Billy Bob work with Jose and not complain. I saw Marquita work with Polly Ann Sue and talk about the holes in their socks and laugh about cleaning up the debris. I saw Georgia Bulldogs, go Dogs, working with Gators and figuring out what to do. And God, as my witness, I saw Democrats working with Republicans. And they got along. Alan Bentz, you're in my thoughts and prayers. You called me after the storm. I called you after the storm. I'm a Democrat. Alan's a Republican. I don't care. It's about doing what's right for the community. And Dr. Honak's going to get a kick out of this. I saw PhDs working with 9th grade educational students, and everybody worked together for the benefit of Bay County. And so my hope and prayer is, as we get past what we're going through now, we don't forget how we work together for the benefit of Bay County. Bay County went through a revolutionary phase, an evolutionary phase in a revolutionary manner. Don't forget why we're here. We're here because we love Bay County. I love you guys. This guy I do call my dad. There's a lot of people out there. My sister, Lisa Walters. Lisa has a big heart until you piss her off, then it's not so big. My mentor, John Robbins, has helped me out in a lot of things related to some of the individuals that I've been working with, and I want to say thank you. Debbie and I call Bay County home. I was at an event not too long ago, and Steve Sutherland said, "I am so glad to see you. You are family." That meant a lot to me. When I look at this table, I kept asking, why is this table so big? We're in the round tables in the back. Dr. Holnack, Jess John, you tricked me. But I love you guys. We love Bay County. My wife and I consider Bay County home. This man right here actually met my real dad and said, if you don't mind while he's here, if he can call me dad when he needs help, please let him do so. And they agreed. That kind of scares me. But he's my dad too. Thank you.
Yes. There you go. Thank you.
God bless you guys.
I think now you can understand why he got the top award tonight from that presentation right there. Thank you.
Hey, Al, I'm sorry we caught you off guard and you didn't really have much to say.
Just saying.
From time to time, at his or her discretion, the chairman of the board of directors may reward individuals whose contributions to and passion for Bay County stand out. As we all continue to rebuild Bay County, it's important to recognize the various needs of our community and the various ways those needs must be addressed. So this year, it's my honor to pay tribute to two very different individuals who work in very different ways to achieve the same outcome, a better community for all of us. So my first Chairman's Award goes to a native of Bay County. I'm gonna put this up here so I can do this. To a native of Panama City who's dedicated their life to the betterment of the people who live here, particularly our children. This person is not only themselves an educator, but has also served on the advisory or governing boards of Holy Nativity, Jenks Middle School, Bay High School, Gulf Coast Community College, Early Childhood Education, the Early Learning Coalition, ASAP, Bay Health Foundation, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Bay County. This is a person I've known my whole life, but I got to know him really well working together in the last two. Whether she was distributing funds to organizations that provide aid to the neediest in our community through the Bay Health Foundation, or working to stretch every dollar that the Boys and Girls Club didn't have to ensure that every child that wants to attend and grow and thrive is able. This person approaches every discussion and every decision first with compassion for those who they serve. They are also the first to volunteer both their time and their money to back up those decisions. And when she speaks in her very distinctive Southern accent, we know that and we listen. So it's my pleasure to award my first 2019 Chairman's Award to Miss Olivia Bird Cooley.
I'm absolutely shocked. It's usually my husband who's standing up here. I love Bay County. My grandfather moved here in 1930, White Oaksburg, to open up the Knee-High Bottling Company. And as most of you know, my father took it over and it became Bird & Son. And I just love it. There's not a better place. There's not more wonderful people. It's a wonderful place to raise your children. And this is a shock, and I cannot thank you enough. And Will is like another son to me. My daughter and he went to school together, so I've watched him grow up. So thank you so much.
My second Chairman's Award tonight goes to someone without whom we as a community literally would not be where we are today, nor would we have the promise of a better future than we could ever have imagined on October 9th. And I'm not misusing the word literally. Usually when we give out these awards, we play a little game where, like Mr. Walters was doing, I was doing a second ago, we pretend like, you don't know who we're talking about. But it's really, really difficult to do that with this person because the institution they represent is so closely tied to who they are and who we know and think of when we think of that institution in this county that I'm just gonna be very direct. So on behalf of the Bay County Chamber of Commerce, its members, and I think I can speak for all of the citizens of Bay County, even though I know it took the convincing of the President of the United States himself, Colonel Brian Laidlaw, commander of the 325th Fighter Wing, thank you for saving Tyndall Air Force Base. You stay right there. Without your tireless efforts, and if you don't know, he and his family and my brother and his family shared a yard for about a year. And there's a big glass window on their house that my sister-in-law kind of peeked through to see what they were doing. And until all hours of the night, he's sitting at the table and he's working, and Samantha'd be over with them having fun, and he'd be working. But without you, there would not be an investment of $4.2 billion, thousands of jobs, and thousands of airmen and their families coming into our county. Yeah. And Samantha and Braden and Taylor, thank you also, not just for allowing us to exhaust your husband and father, but for supporting us in your own way and for becoming our friends. So it is my great pleasure, Robert's got it, but to present you with this Chairman's Award.
I'm not normally caught off guard like this. And for those with whom I've had the privilege to talk, you know that I don't like to show up at things unprepared. And tonight you definitely caught me off guard, so well played. So, I will say without hesitation, the first thought that came to my mind when I walked up here on this stage, and I looked out here tonight, was it has truly been the privilege of my career and Samantha's career to serve in this community. As Will mentioned, we have had the opportunity to interact with leaders of our country all the way to the top, all the way to the president and the vice president. And a message that I try every which way I can think of to communicate to people who don't live down here is when you try to calculate the strategic value of a military installation, you have got to find a way to calculate the strategic value that that community provides to the airmen and sailors and their families who live in that community. And it hurts to say it sometimes, but it's the truth. You know, we've all been through a lot in this last year, and I wouldn't wish what all of us have been through on anyone. But if you have to go through what all of us have gone through for the last 15 months, there's not another community anywhere on this planet that I would have rather gone through it with you. And it is truly a privilege and an opportunity that I don't take lightly to brag about you and all that you have to offer to our military, the Navy, the Air Force, and our families. I take every opportunity I can to brag about how wonderful you are and how strategically important it is to keep these two bases here and how valuable it is to have a supportive community like this. So thank you so much for this award. We are truly humbled. Thank you.
So our final award of the night is for Member of the Year. Each year, the Chamber recognizes one member whose enthusiasm and dedication deserves special acknowledgement. This year's recipient has served on both the Bay County and Panama City Beach Chamber boards and has been heavily involved in the United Way, the Bay Economic Development Alliance, Bay Defense Alliance, the Boy Scouts, and way too many others to name. And while this person's support of the Chamber has been strong and constant for many years, last year they came to our aid when we needed it the most. As you may know, in June of last year, the Chamber found ourselves homeless after stints first in the conference room at my dealership and then in the trailer of Commerce across from City Hall that the city of Panama, Carol hates that, the Panama City was gracious enough to allow us to use for as long as they were able. When our time ran out there and we were desperate for a storefront and a home base, he immediately said, "We'll make room for you." And he has been and continues to be a generous host ever since. So for all those reasons and all the reasons Al said, thank you for saving me about half my speech. It is my great pleasure to announce your 2019 Member of the Year, our landlord, Just John, the president of Gulf Coast State College, Dr. John Holdnack.
Apparently, I'm going to have to raise his rent. Family. You know, family is a good word. Al's got a couple people he calls dad. I call everybody in this room, and a lot of people not in this room tonight, family, because this is a very special place. When I first started working at Gulf Coast in 1982, I planned to be there 2 or 3 years, and it got harder and harder to leave, and it wasn't the job, and it wasn't the college, it was the community. And it's been such a privilege and an honor to work with outstanding people at the Chamber and a lot of organizations in the community and to do things that make a difference. And so it's easy to get up every morning and head to work when you know that what you're doing counts. Thank you.
Put this back up here. Make sure I can see that. All right. The past 5 years serving on the Chamber Board, culminating in this last year as its chairman, have been an experience of a lifetime, particularly in the relationships I've been fortunate to build with people like those we've awarded tonight, with people like Andrew Rowell, who is kind, thoughtful, and don't let him fool you. He's got a little mischief in him, too. And he's going to do a great job this year. And with all of you, our members. We've achieved an awful lot together this year. We exceeded our membership and revenue goals. We won the Great American Defense Community Award. We were successful in encouraging the Florida Chamber to take a stance to protect the Gulf Training Range from offshore drilling. We led the county's economic recovery planning efforts, and we won Chamber of the Year for the state of Florida for the 4th time. So as the volunteers of this organization, we get to stand up here and take all the credit, but where the credit really lies is with our staff. Lisa, whose smiling face I look forward to see in the 5 wide every day when I go in there, now at the office at the college, and hopefully soon, Andrew, at a newly renovated lobby at the Chamber building downtown. Ashton, our Vice President of Communications, who has done a fantastic job of putting together our award-winning publications and making me look decent in videos and interviews. Debbie, our Vice President of Finance, who, if I ever even thought about sponsoring an event, would have an invoice waiting for me by the time I got back to work, and can pretty much tell you how much money the vending machine in the break room makes. Tamara and Philomena, our membership department, who in spite of a very tough sales climate, maintained our membership and would be happy to renew yours tonight. Melissa, our member services coordinator and our resident flamenco dancer. Elizabeth, our vice president of foundation and events, who makes this event and all of our events and programs streamlined, special, and successful, even though some people can't give them the right script. Brandy, our vice president of governmental and military affairs, who keeps us all on task, and who is my wingman on the Economic Recovery Task Force, though everybody pretty quickly figured out she was the smart one. And finally, Carol, our CEO. Come on up, Carol. Where is she? She hates this too. Our leader, who continues to meet new challenges and get us into the middle of anything that affects Bay County. She's also a great friend, always willing to listen, never afraid to tell you when it's time to suck it up and go back to work. Where is she? Okay, fine. Well, this is for you, but I'll keep it. I'll bring it to you later. So I couldn't be prouder of them and everything they do to serve you, our members, and our community. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Finally, I want to give thanks to my family. Mom, Dad, my brother Chris, my sister Emily. Thank you for being great examples of what it means to give back to the community and allowing me this opportunity. And of course to my wife Monica and my children Liam and Rosemary, who we rewarded by not making them be here tonight. Thank you for your large amount of patience with me and all your love. So now, I think we have flowers for Monica. Somebody has flowers for Monica. They'd much rather see you than me. So now the moment you've all been waiting for since the last 10 minutes. It is my privilege to welcome to the stage your 2020 Chairman of the Board, Andrew Rowell.
Will, you're a tough act to follow. Heck, the dance routine last year at the annual dinner shook me up pretty bad. But this boxing gig, guys, you think I can follow that? Forget about it. First of all, I'd like to thank a couple of folks for making this opportunity for me tonight. Mr. Derwin White and Mr. Alan Bentz. Thank you all for putting me in the position to be here. I appreciate it. And also I'd like to thank my wife, Debbie Ashbrook. She is my rock. It is my privilege to serve as chairman of the board of Directors for the 2020 Bay County Chamber of Commerce. First, I'd like to say that we will continue to carry the torch and send the message that Bay County is open for business. I know we're all tired of talking about it, but as we recover from Hurricane Michael, I'm blown away, no pun intended, by the spirit of the community. We have pushed, pulled, hammered, cleaned, demoed, dug up, planted, painted, and helped our neighbors create a new normal. I believe that we can look forward to a Bay County that we're all proud of. Will mentioned it, but I got to say it again. I'm proud to be a part of an award-winning organization that once again won Chamber of the Year in 2019. This says something, thank you. This says something not only for the organization, but our investors and our community. All of y'all give yourself a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Our board members met this past October to develop a plan for our 2020 year. We quickly realized that the plan was already in place. We didn't need to come up with ideas for projects. Thanks to our county and city leaders and our community, all we had to do was to identify the projects we would tackle. Many of these projects will be ongoing for years, such as our partnership with Nexsite, Bay County, the cities of Panama City, Parker, and Callaway. We must continue to market ourselves to new national retailers to fill our unused commercial spaces. Our 2020 legislative agenda addressed many of the issues that we face on a local, state, and federal level, and we will continue to work with our elected officials to accomplish those goals. Our 5 key objectives for the 2020 year is the upcoming census, which is very important that everyone here is counted. An investors conference in conjunction with Nexsite and partnering with the EDA and other organizations. Housing, a contractors and business one-stop shop, disaster center. And lastly, but probably the most important, is our visual image. 2020 should be fun. Our community is strong. And we are a community that looks at problems, not as problems, but as opportunities. So strap on your boots, throw on your hard hat, and let's go out there and rebuild a better Bay County. Thank you very much.